Well, they say revenge is a dish best served cold. Anthony Yarde's had to wait a long time to get his hands on Lyndon Arthur, but tonight it was worth it. A fourth round stoppage victory, rewriting the wrong of last year. Let's have a look at what he did better in this fight. Straight away you see how he was jabbing with Lyndon, and then when he had to reset his feet, he didn't take long. He was stepping straight back on him and moving to Lyndon. In the first fight he was arcing and allowing Lyndon that space there. This fight he wasn't, he's going straight to Lyndon. You can see here he's punching spaces as well. Any spaces he sees on Lyndon's body, he's going for it. He's going for it, he's hitting it because he's got that intensity. Now whether that's because of obviously the stuff that they was talking about after the fight and before the fight, but you see here also how he uses the forearm. Lyndon was looking to initiate a lot of clinches, I think to try and weather the storm, but also to tire out the lactic acid in those and get lactic acid into those muscles of Anthony Yarde. But ultimately Yarde was just too ravenous. He was hungry for it tonight. You see here a lot of posing and posturing, but you see Yarde's movement is more to the left and Lyndon's dropping away. See, he's dropping, and then he comes across and pivots back round to his left. So they're constantly moving away from each other. They're both moving clockwise. And every time Anthony's looking to punch, he's just throwing single punches, and there's too much posing and posturing in this fight. Far too much. Feeling out. Possibly, as I was going to say earlier, maybe a lack of intensity because there was no crowd there. And obviously the stuff that was going on in his life. And also you've got to give credit to Lyndon. You know, he boxed a good fight. See here how he's dropping off because he's moving his feet and constantly adjusting the range. Anthony never allowed him that tonight. You see here, when there was a little bit of respite, Anthony's giving him different looks. But you'll see, he'll jump on Arthur after Arthur lands that right hand. He shakes his head, no. And he's on him. He covers the distance. Lyndon Arthur likes time to think. And once you get past that jab, he doesn't have the necessary defensive skills, bar the clinch, to sort of weather this sort of barrage. And you can see the uppercut was there. I've put it on Twitter tonight. The uppercut left hook I felt was the shot that could take Arthur out. But you see Anthony committed to the body as well as the head. The uppercuts. His hips are pushed back. You can see that he's not got his hips close. So by having his hips pushed back, he's allowing himself leverage for shots. And Arthur's not able to smother. See here, left hook to the head. Touch, right hook to the body, to the other side. Another little touch. And you'll see a shot to the solar plex in a moment. It's just coming up. And I think that was the shot that took it out of him. Little choppy right hand there. And then from here, it's destruction. It's over. I know some may dispute the stoppage. Personally, looking at Lyndon's body language, it seemed like he accepted it. For me, it looked like he was trying to see his way through that early storm. He knew what was coming, but he couldn't deal with it. He wasn't able to maintain the distance with that famed jab. Tonight, Anthony Yarde was just too relentless for him and was willing to commit to the body, which a lot of fighters don't do. And it wasn't just body punching for the sake of body punching. As much as I'm saying he's touching spaces, there was craft to it. There was little choppy shots up the middle, round the sides, touch to the head to bring up the elbow so he can bring it round the side. I also saw, I really liked the way Anthony controls the head. Lyndon was constantly jabbing and then falling out of position because what he was looking to do is jab and then low level change and then go underneath Anthony and clinch to sort of maul, to tire him and to just stop him from being offensive. Anthony was putting his forearm onto the head of Arthur and punching with the backhand over the top onto the left ear. And that set the tone for the fight, the fact that he was able to control Lyndon's posture, the ability to then land that backhand onto the ear to shake him up and to essentially cause damage so early in the fight. That's not what Pat would have wanted. Pat Barrett would have not wanted. He would have understood. He would have spelled the warnings to Lyndon about how they're going to start fast, but he wouldn't have wanted Lyndon to be taking so many shots so early in the fight. And that's where I think we've got to give credit to Tunde Ajayi and Anthony Yarde for not only licking their wounds, but also re-evaluating, going back to the drawing board and looking at getting wisdom in the form of James Cook, who clearly is up the intensity, clearly no nonsense. I've had the pleasure of meeting James earlier this year, and you know he's a knowledgeable man who's been in the sport for so long. And it isn't a case of just a guy who's there going through the motions. This is a guy that is passionate about the sport, has wisdom, has the knowledge, but also the application. He's been there, seen it, done it with fighters. He's brought through good fighters, and he's fought at a good level. He has that experience, but also that intensity, that no-nonsense approach, where anything less than the best, he won't accept it. He won't have people cutting corners around him. He's not going to allow tomfoolery and smoke and mirrors, BS. And I've got to give it to Tunde and Yarde, because it takes humility to be able to accept someone in when you've had it been going in a certain direction for so long. And I'm very, very interested to see how they're going to push on now, because I saw a fighter that I think's got more to give. I really, really do. I think he's got a higher ceiling. Tonight, I looked at certain things he was doing, and I thought, you know what, he could have had Arthur out of there earlier. A good fighter, as good a fighter as Arthur is, Anthony could have had him out of there earlier. If he was a little bit quicker to shift his feet as Arthur fell in, he would have created leverage to be able to land his shots and to work around the target. They're touching on something here with the potential world title fight next. It's going to be very, very exciting to see his progression. And as for Lyndon Arthur, this time last year he was the toast of British boxing. People are very quick to run people down. My concern about him would be, where's his mind at? Just walking back, last year, Yarde was devastated by the defeat. Tonight, Lyndon was almost laughing and joking going back. I don't know, it just does, that in part doesn't sit right with me, but he's a different person to me, so people handle things differently. But look, he's got things to work on. He's got to have a bit more variety. He's got to be able to defend in the mid to short range more competently. That was my concern leading into the first fight. If you go back and watch my initial breakdown video, I felt Yarde would stop him because of his lack of defense once people get past the jab. But if he can work on these things, he can most certainly come again. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and hit the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.